the pillars of health, there's 6 of them: nutrition, movement, mindset, sleep, relationships, and toxins. And any one of those things, if it is out of balance, can cause health issues. And so kind of looking at the whole holistic view of somebody and really understanding what levers to push on first to really help them get going in the right direction, I think is something unique to what I do.
Welcome to the Why We Started podcast, the show that gives business owners a platform to share the real story behind their brand. I'm your host, Vanessa Grace, and each week we dive into the why behind the business. Whether it started from a passion, a problem, or a random what-if moment, this is where we explore what makes your business different from anyone else in your industry. Because behind every business, there's a story worth sharing. Welcome back to the Why We Started podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Grace, and today's guest is Ashley Bagni, a certified health coach and founder of Thrive Health Coaching. She's helping women take their power back when it comes to their health. This conversation might shift how you think about wellness completely. So welcome, Ashley.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so happy that you're
Fucking
here.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's talk about your business. What is Thrive Health Coaching and who do you really help?
What is Thrive Health Coaching? It's a place where people can find clarity and get real answers with real solutions so that they can achieve their health goals. But I think a better way to think about it is what it is not. It is not fatty or trendy or what's the latest and greatest thing out on social media. It's science, evidence-based, evidence-informed health practices that people can do long term. And the people that I typically serve are women because I like complicated things, and the female body is a little more complicated than our male counterparts. No offense to them.
No, you're not wrong.
And typically my clients are 35 plus. Yeah. So that's really what it is.
Okay. So what inspired you to start this business? Like what were you doing before even health coaching?
Well, gosh, before I was a health coach, I've had many lifetimes of careers, so sort of an evolution. Before I was a health coach, years and years ago, I was a teacher. And so I think educating and helping other people, even though they were small, tiny people, was really something that I was always drawn to. But even during that time of teaching, I had toiled with, applied to, and got back into school to go pre-med. And so I think I always had a draw towards health sciences. And I think it was a gift that I actually didn't do it that way because I'm not sure allopathic medicine was really what my calling was. And anyway, so I was a teacher, had my kids, stayed home with them for a while, and really started to develop a passion for health and wellness. My son has a lot of health issues, and I saw the power of nutrition and food in his healing and the improvements in his health. And at the same time, concurrently, I had been personally struggling with some health issues from the time I was 21. And so now, fast forward, I was 40 at the time and still struggling. And it was with changing my lifestyle and my habits that I improved my health so much. And I went from really just feeling miserable all the time, nauseous, on the floor in the fetal position in pain, to waking up and feeling great every day. And it was that experience that I had. And I knew, okay, there's other people out there like this who are struggling. And so I ended up working with a network marketing company, which I don't want to say the name of because I don't want to disparage anyone. So that's like how they put food on the table and pay for their bills, right? They had good products and really wonderful human beings, but I hated the business model. And part of the job was we were supposed to be coaching people through this certain number of days program, which I don't want to give away because I think it'll give away the company name. And when I was doing that, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. How can I be coaching these people on health through this program? I'm not qualified to do this. And I knew it. And it made me feel uncomfortable. So I went back and got my health coaching certification. And during that process of doing that business and getting my health coaching certification, I really just realized I freaking hated network marketing. Like, I hated the business model. It wasn't the people. It wasn't necessarily even the products. It was just, I hated how you made the money and
Mhm.
I didn't want to do it. So I stepped away from that and really focused on my health coaching and trying and working on building that practice. And as I completed my health coaching certification, I just fell back in love with health sciences again. And so then I went back to get my integrative and functional nutrition certificate of completion through a program. And I did that. And now I'm getting my master's in integrative nutrition. But I think I found my calling and my purpose. And it was sort of a long, windy road to get there. But it was the path I was supposed to take.
That's awesome. Honestly, I mean, I've known you in both the company that you were with before to obviously being on your own, and I definitely feel like that you've definitely found like your confidence in with what you're doing. So,
Yeah.
I would love for you to just kind of dive into a little bit about what sets your coaching business different than any other wellness space.
I think it's because of a couple key things. One, it's super evidence based. Everything I do and prescribe for my clients is always based on scientific research and data. So, evidence based or evidence informed is what they would say in the field, and my level of expertise. But on top of that, I don't do cookie cutter programs. So, every client that comes to me is a different client. If you've seen one person with diabetes, you've seen one person with diabetes because everybody's diabetes is a little different. And so that's how I view my clients is I may have somebody coming to me for weight loss, but I'm not going to give them the same prescription of lifestyle interventions and things that we're going to do as I would somebody else because they're not going to respond to it the same way because they're a completely different person. And so I think the respect for the individual is something that's really powerful. A lot of times when you go and sign up for a program similar to what I was doing with network marketing or something else, it's all the same. Everybody gets the same program. But not everybody gets the same results. And the reason is because not everybody is exactly the same. And so I think really respecting the individual is important. But also the other aspect is just my deep level of knowledge and science about the body, nutrition, and that teaching component comes back in as I spend a lot of time each week with my client imparting that wisdom onto them so that when our time is done, they aren't walking away like I had withheld anything. They now know what I know. And I think that's another key difference is just my ability to communicate and educate very complex things and make it simple for somebody else to understand.
That's huge. Honestly, there's just so much that goes along with nutrition.
Yeah.
So to be able to like explain it to anyone from someone that has no idea about nutrition to someone who has a little knowledge, that's huge.
And I think also part of my program really talks about the pillars of health. So many of us think it's exercise and movement, but the pillars of health, there's 6 of them. Movement, which is exercise, but nutrition, movement, mindset, sleep, relationships, and toxins. And any one of those things, if it is out of balance or not in homeostasis, as we would say in the scientific community, can cause health issues. And so, really understanding the right questions to ask somebody so that you can understand they may think it's their diet, but really it's actually their stress, or they may think they're not exercising enough, but really it's their poor sleep. And so, kind of looking at the whole holistic view of somebody and really understanding what levers to push on first to really help them get going in the right direction, I think is something unique to what I do.
Your business is called like Thrive Health Coaching. So what does the Thrive kind of mean to you?
Thrive really, I think, came out of my personal transition. And sorry, I'll get a little emotional about this part, but watching my son, because he is just this little like tiny creature and he was not thriving. He was literally just, even as a newborn, getting through each day, just surviving. And he was sick and miserable. And, all I wanted for him was to thrive and just to feel like that failure to thrive as a child when you're a parent watching your child not thrive. It's very difficult. very difficult, but I wasn't thriving either. And I knew instinctively down in my gut, like I was meant to feel good every day. And so for me, that's what that means. It's personal, it's helping people thrive in their life and not just survive or get by every day feeling miserable. And I think every day is such a gift, and people often forget and just need to be reminded that it's not luck or happenstance that people are feeling amazing and thriving every day. It is just the collective body of small little choices that they make over a long period of time that gets them there. And I think there's just such power in knowing that maybe if you have not been making those collective positive choices for yourself, you can start doing that and change the direction and feel amazing every day. And so that was a long-winded answer too. That's what it means to me.
No, but that's your story, and I think that's super powerful. My gosh, I can't imagine just being a part of that, but I'm happy that you both are thriving now, and
Yeah.
it's turned into a new leaf that it's been like almost kind of like the heart and the power that kind of keeps you going.
Yeah.
Right? Do you feel like that's kind of something that has been really kind of pushing to like when life kind of gets hard, you kind of go back to the reason why you started this business, right? So is that
Yeah.
kind of where it stems from?
Oh, yeah. And honestly, and I say this because I have not been in this place before, when I was doing my network marketing, and I think to a degree when I was teaching as well, is I don't really have any hard days. Like, I love what I'm doing to the point where I have to force myself to like stop doing it because my kids need like to eat food and be taken places, and but yeah, I love what I do so much. There's busy days, when a lot is on my plate, but it doesn't ever feel hard to do, and I always like go back to just there's nothing harder than watching your child not thrive. And so whatever hard comes my way, like harder than that.
Yeah, I bet. But I love that this is something that brings you joy. Work isn't work to you. It's like something fun. So to kind of switch gears a little bit, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have with working with a health coach?
The first one is like, oh, that's not a real thing. Yeah, and I get it because it's kind of a newer ish field, but
Well, because people have heard of nutritionists and dietitians, and health coaching is not as in depth as that, but it's still very helpful,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I mean, dietitians can prescribe nutrition to treat a medically diagnosed condition. Nutritionists, depending on the state and the certification that they have, may or may not be able to do that. And then some of them do have the skills and abilities to read labs. Of course, neither of them can prescribe pharmaceutical medications or any other thing, but they have that level of expertise. A health coach is really dialing the zoomed in view and going way up and looking at all the things. So it's not just the nutritional or dietary habits or patterns or interventions. It's okay, what's your sleep like? How are you moving your body? What are your relationships like? Like, let's look at your toxins. What are you having toxin exposure? What is your movement practice? What is your dietary pattern? We're looking at all of these things and
Mhm.
coaching you on all of it so that you can get the outcome that you're looking for from your health. And I think the misconception is just like health coaches just tell you what to eat, or we're like another iteration or version of a personal trainer, which you would not want me to do. Okay. Like I got my own personal trainer and he tells me what to do. Okay. But I know what you should be doing. I just can't tell you how to do it with a level of expertise as these other people can.
Got it.
And I think so just not really knowing or understanding what it is that we do as practitioners and then how we can support somebody, I think is a misconception. So we cannot diagnose, treat, cure, or claim to prevent any diseases. We can't write prescriptions. But what we can do is you can come to us with a diagnosis and say, my healthcare provider has told me that I need to do these things, but I don't know how. because a lot of times your doctor will say, well, you need to lose weight. Well, great. They probably already knew that they needed to lose weight. How do I go about doing that and crafting those habits into my life, right? How do I do that? And that's what a health coach does. And we really are health habit coaches, with the key difference of, for me personally, from some other people out there, is I get what it's like to have two small kids and a husband and a job and be in grad school and have a kid who's got issues and needs above just your regular child,
Right.
and still figure out how to stay healthy. But I think there's a lot to it. People just don't understand what it is a health coach does.
Yeah, I understand that. And you said earlier that you're getting your master's. How would that affect like your business? Is it like a obviously I'm guessing it's a way to kind of be able to do more than what you're
Yeah.
doing currently. So, how would that help you grow?
Yeah, so my master's in integrative nutrition is just going to allow me to sit for my nutrition certification exam.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so then I can, on top of being certified as a health coach and then having my integrative and functional nutrition certificate of completion, I will also be able to say I'm a nutritionist. Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Um, and then, and that, what that does is it just gives me a deeper level of knowledge and understanding about how to work with my body
Mm,
and with your body and with everybody's body. But as it relates to food, and the program that I'm doing is actually through Bastyr University, and it's one of only a couple schools in the country who have a naturopathic school for naturopathic doctors who want to be naturopaths. And so I'm getting like a really high quality, in-depth knowledge base with food, and it's integrative, of course. So we're not just going to your standard state university and getting that basic nutrition knowledge. It's really an integrative approach with all these other pillars.
that's really cool. So
Yeah.
that will help you kind of be able to handle whatever comes to your way. Is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and that combined with the work that I did in my other program, we did a lot of work with dissecting lab results. And so it's all nerdy and science, and I love it.
Which you love, which probably some people might want to hear, but might not. I totally
Yeah.
understand
Which somebody else would probably rather watch paint dry, but
that.
not me.
Well, I do have a fun hot take for you that I'm curious
Yes.
if you can ask me about.
Okay.
So, you believe it's not about the calories, it's about the ingredients, right? So, tell me a little bit more about that because some people are all about counting calories, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but want to know a little bit more in depth because like I've listened to you talk, I listened to your podcast, like you have just a different understanding on things. So, please tell me more about that.
Okay. So I think my first big thing about this is I loathe the word calories in the layperson's understanding, because it takes what food is and breaks it down into some equivalent number on a piece of paper. So, for example, food labels are allowed to be off by 20% in either direction. Right. Okay. So there's that.
That's terrible.
So first of all, I don't even like it because it's not very accurate in my opinion. And then second, it's not about calories, it's about your energy intake. So every day, okay, we're blinking, I'm moving my hands, right? Like this requires energy. You work out, you exercise, move around, walk, do laundry, blink, eat food, yell at your kids, I don't know, get irritated at your mom for nagging you about something. This all requires energy. And at the end of the day, our energy requirements need to, most of the time, meet our energy demand. What we take in needs to meet. Okay. It's energy. So if you have too much energy, your body will store it away for later, i.e., fat, right? Okay. If you don't have enough energy, your body's going to break something down in your body. Now, that could be muscle, that could be fat, it could be some other thing, but it's going to break it down because it needs to meet these energy requirements. And so when people think about calories and counting, calories are just another way of saying how much energy is in food. And so you're really looking at how much energy you're taking in. And when we think about calories, all people think about is weight loss. It's
True.
not about meeting their energy needs. It's about, well, I have to cut my calories so I can lose weight. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking to myself, well, how many calories do you even know if what you're supposed to be eating? Do you know how much energy you're burning in a day? So most people don't even know how much energy they're burning in a day. And so this whole construct of calories and like it takes away from the point of what food is supposed to be, which is to give our body energy to do its job, right? And
Hmm.
so that takes me to the ingredients portion. It's like you could give your body 2 pieces of pizza and have a certain number of calories, or you could eat a big plate of salmon and vegetables, and they could be the equivalent calories. But those ingredients are going to do massively different things in your body. One is going to drastically raise your glucose, probably elevate your triglycerides, do all sorts of things to your lipids and the fats in your blood. And the other is you're going to do a completely opposite thing. It's probably going to stabilize your blood glucose. It's going to give you macro and micronutrients, but
Wait,
they're
so
the same amount.
I know you're saying really nice things, but
Yeah.
also can you layman's tame that?
Yeah.
What are those meaning to people that have no idea what that means?
Which part?
Just like what pizza does to you, the two slices of pizza do to you versus the salmon with the vegetables.
Okay.
What does that do to your body in like, a lot of the actual scientific words you use it in like
Okay.
a third grader does not understand it.
Okay. So you could have 2 pieces of pizza
Mhm.
and you could have a plate of salmon and some vegetables. The pizza is going to make you really tired. Okay. The pizza isn't going to have all the little building blocks that your body needs to keep it working right. There'll be a few in there, but a lot's going to be missing. So it's going to try and cobble together something that it can use to keep its energy going, but it's not going to work very well. Whereas the salmon and plate of veggies, it knows what that is. It's like, oh, I can just break this apart and use all these building blocks. I'm going to send this here and I'm going to send that there. And oh, yeah, I recognize that. No problem. And so your body starts functioning and operating much more efficiently. The factory lines in the body, all the production lines that got to do all their work, like a manufacturing plant, the salmon and the veggies, it knows what to do with those things. It's like, oh yeah, we build this with that. Oh yeah, you put a piece of pizza in there. Okay, the flour is refined, so it doesn't know that. That's never found in nature. You don't find flour trace. Okay, cheese. All right, maybe there's some of that. Maybe there's pepperoni on the pizza. Well, that's a manufactured product, so it's gonna go. Okay, I don't know what any of this is, and then it's gonna call. Anybody know what this is? Can anybody use this? Where should we go? I don't know. Which production line does this go down? I don't know. All right, let's try it here. And the more you eat food like that, the more dysfunction happens. Whereas if you're thinking about ingredients and not calories, and you're looking at this and going, oh, well, my body would know what this is. You get a level of function in the body that's easier. Oftentimes, I'll tell my clients, it's like if you bought a Lego set for your child or someone, and the directions came in a language that you don't know, like let's say Mandarin Chinese, you would do the best you could with the pictures on the instruction manual to put it together, but you're not going to get it right because you don't understand it. And that's the difference between thinking just about calories or thinking about what's in the food and the ingredients.
Normally, I just like say that's awesome, but I was taking notes.
That's
I was like,
awesome.
this is good stuff. I gotta write this down. No, I think that you explained that better. I mean, I like understand some scientific words, but
Yeah.
I know from people that like would be listening, either they're really smart and they're like, yeah, totally. Ashley's right. I got that. And
Yeah.
there are the people like, what? Like, I don't get any of those words.
Yeah.
Please help me. I honestly, I love the version. Even if I like no understand the words completely, I love hearing how people can kind of like explain things on a lower scale just because I see like cartoons in my head
Right.
on everything and like how your body's just like throwing fire and like paper
Right.
everywhere like I don't know what to do all this stuff. That was what I was thinking while you were talking. So I think it's just very interesting how like yeah, your body will feel better obviously if you have food with like just fresher ingredients, not necessarily processed. So I think that's really cool.
Well, it's just recognizable. And why is it recognizable? because it's what humans have evolved with for thousands of years. We have not evolved with these industrial, I don't know, food like products.
Mhm.
These were inventions of the last, I don't know, 50, 80 years. So, like, our body really doesn't know what to do with, all of these things. So it is those things that make up the constituents of somebody's diet almost all the time. For most people, their diet is all almost primarily processed food. So, yeah. Okay. Yay.
Well, I mean, I got a chance to kind of see the behind the scenes of how Ashley does her business. We went and did a content shoot together. We got to go into Whole Foods and kind of show the service that she provides. And then also just kind of like just talking deeply and like kind of showing the behind the scenes of just her being a health coach in general so that we can kind of create this cool business highlight reel for her. But I wanted to know like how you felt about doing that content shoot.
Oh, I thought it was fun. It was it was easy. You made it very fun and easy. It made me kind of more reflective on how much there is to going into what I do. It feels so natural and easy to me, but like you're right, it just other people, there's more to it than I realize.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes with at least just content in general, it's you're so close to what you do that you know how everything works scientifically and but sometimes communicating it to people so that they can actually understand what you're saying, like get your message across is super powerful and like sometimes it's hard to do that with content cuz content can just be over kind of overwhelming sometimes.
Sometimes, most of the time. I have to remember, I think that's one of the challenges of, and I think I, I definitely going through my master's program, I have such immense respect for doctors who go through this deep training. But what
Mhm.
I do now understand on a level that I probably didn't appreciate before was are in that space for so long, your pre-med, your medical school, your residency, your fellowship, you're doing all these things, you get so seeped into the technicality and the vernacular and the science that you lose that zooming out perspective of how do I talk about this to a patient? And you're like, well, it's just, the ATP turns into CMPK and then it activates the protein, like, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
And so I understand that, but I also really try to backtrack that when I'm working with people and just like, okay, how would an 8-year-old understand this? And it's great that I have my small children because if I can get them to understand it, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. And my son is very sweet, quite bright. And he'll say, oh, mom, I don't really get what you're saying. And then I'm like, all right, well, I need to redo that now.
That's good though. That's actually kind of nice that you have that.
Right? Yeah, I got two small kids who just, they're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, redoing that.
But I will say they've like learned a lot because like your daughter was in a few of the shots that we took being in the grocery store
Yeah.
and she was like pointing things out. She's like, can't eat this, but we can eat this, right, mom? This has good ingredients. And then she like showed the back of the box, be like, right? These are good ingredients. I know what these are. And I was like, oh my gosh, you trained her so well.
Well, and I think to the moms and dads out there or grandmas or caregivers in general, and to the future moms, not speaking to anybody else on this podcast, you can influence what your kids are doing. It's just so easy. And there's nothing more powerful than even if they don't, because my daughter, like, I mean, she is white on rice for the sugar. I mean,
Hmm.
she could eat the junk all day long, but it is in there. She knows, and I think that's the powerful thing about changing the parents, changing their health is that the end byproduct, the side effect, if you will, is that it does seep into their children. And so that's powerful too in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. They absorb everything that you absorb. So if you're pointing out that this is important to them to know about, then they're going to learn it. Like my sister's also kind of like this way, and it's adorable hearing her kids when I'm with them. They're like, Auntie Nessa, is this organic? And I'm like, I love that. That's a question that you ask all the time. Like
Right.
they won't eat it unless it's organic, which I think is like I'm like, yes, actually it is. Like I only brought organic things, obviously. Like I know, but I've honestly like I love it. I think that it's just a good way to. It's like almost like it's like subletting messaging. You're not like sometimes you can be forced like actually teaching them, but
Right.
also like they listen to what you're doing. They see what you're doing with other people that they want to be like you. Like they're still in the phase where they're young and they still kind of want to do whatever mom's doing.
Yeah, and it's so the health habits ingrained early are so powerful. And you can think about I always thought about this like as I'm doing this with myself and coaching people, I see the power of that through my own family. Like we did not, we didn't have sugar, we didn't have junk food when I was little. We had a little bit more maybe when I was middle school, but we didn't have chips in our house. We didn't have any of that stuff. And so now today that's just not a part of our house either. My mom would always make a home cooked meal back in the day. I mean, it was the 80s. Okay. So gotta give her a break. But there was always a home cooked meal. And so we make dinner at home. That's just what I do. And I sometimes have to remember, like, that's not how other people do it. Like, there are people who eat out every meal and never cook. Just knowing the power that my kids are going to have that in their life. It moves the needle for improved health, not just for me or my clients, but if their children are seeing that, it's going to improve the health for the whole society.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Especially, yeah, because and if you're mostly coaching women that are probably moms or soon to be moms or grandmoms. Yeah, I said grandmoms. I liked that.
I like that.
I liked that. I want to keep that now.
Hey,
I think
mom, you have a new name.
you grandmoms, yeah. I think that like they the ones either in the kitchen or kind of being like, okay, we're doing this like husband, like we're gonna have this meal together every night, like every dinner, we all sit at a table and we eat, and that's a habit that you're gonna have. Yeah, every night we have a home cooked meal.
Well, yeah, and I think it's one thing that is lost in our culture right now of sitting down, eating with people, breaking bread.
Like
Food was
taking the time to eat too. Like
yeah,
not like
food
rushing into
right.
meals. I think like the like taking a breath each bite. Like I remember hearing about how that's like really important.
Yeah. Put your fork like a good tip for everybody listening if you wanted or watching is put your fork down in between bites. So simple, so easy to do, but it slows your food down. And there is a delayed response between your brain getting the signal that your stomach has been stretched and you're full and in your brain telling you, okay, stop eating. So that delayed signaling that allows you to just be more aware of, oh, am I full? Am I still hungry? But we were always meant to eat together. And for most of human history, humans broke bread together, right? We
Yeah.
weren't going and hunting and gathering the food and then sitting by ourselves in a tree and eating it all.
Yeah.
We were bringing it back to the tribe or the group or the hut or whatever stage of evolution it was at that time. And everybody was eating together. And they would eat until they were full and then they
Right.
would stop eating, right? And you lose some of that when you're not eating with others and you're not taking your time to eat. So, yeah, it's such an important thing, and I wish we would start a movement of bringing family dinners back.
So you mentioned that the tip about like the dropping your fork between meals.
Mhm.
So obviously you kind of have these like a lot of facts that you just know. So I assume this is something that you talk about on your podcast?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
yes.
So tell me a little bit about your podcast and what that all entails.
Well, in conjunction to getting my master's and being a mom and a wife and a doggy mom and
The cutest doggy mom ever.
having running a business. I also have a podcast because I didn't have enough to do. No. Yes, my podcast is called Ladies Cut the Crap. And really it is just about cutting through all the crap that's out there in the health space and giving specifically females information that is real, that's relevant, that's true, that's updated on the science, because the science is always changing. And not because they were wrong before, it's just they learned something new. And so they tweak it a little bit. But it's staying on top of that and giving people real information that they can then use in their daily life. And I break it down, it's science based, but I break it down to make it very accessible for everyone and easy to understand. And I give people little tips and tricks to apply to their life that they can apply that day that
Right.
doesn't involve them rearranging their whole life and like standing on their head for 30 minutes and drinking water upside down with a full moon or something crazy. But yeah, it's just real tips, real things,
I love
you know?
that, which is so helpful with
Yeah.
what's going on. Honestly, For anyone who's listening and feels like they're just surviving right now, is there anything you want them to know about? I didn't ask that question right. Can I ask that question again to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you cannot. I do not
Give a
permission you.
second. Think about your answer, and and it's a
Yes.
number 16, if that
Yeah,
helps
I
you.
got it right here.
Okay. So for anyone who's listening and feels like they're just surviving right now, what would you want them to hear?
You're not broken. Your body has just been adapting to what has been thrown at it, and you can make small little changes that will have a big impact over time to make you feel better. And that you're meant to feel good. If you don't feel good right now and you feel like you're just surviving and you aren't thriving, that's just a signal that things are off. Nothing's wrong, you're not broken. You just got to tweak things a little bit and be open to tweaking things that maybe you weren't willing to tweak before so you can get results that you haven't gotten.
See, you're saying the things I just needed to hear. So thank you.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. For those who are just like kind of interested in what you're talking about, what's a
Yeah.
great way for them to connect with you?
Well, let's see. You can always connect with me on my social media, which is really good because of Vanessa. So get with Vanessa if you need social media help. Okay. But that's at Thrive Health Coaching LLC on Instagram. And then my website is www, of course. I don't think I need to say that. I think that ages me, but I could call it the World Wide Web and be even more nerdy. No,
Oh yeah. World Wide Web.
that's thrivehealthcoachllc.com. And then if you wanted to email me directly, it's just Ashley at thrivehealthcoachingllc.com.
And then obviously they can listen to your podcast as well.
Oh yeah. And you can listen to my podcast. That is Ladies Cut the Crap. It's a lot of fun. I love it. A lot of times it's just me talking, but sometimes I have really smart guests on there too. It's all the things.
All the free knowledge you can get, and when you're ready for something more personalized, that's when you would call Ashley.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm here.
Well,
hey,
Ashley, all of Ashley's information, her social media and her podcast are in the show notes for those who want to connect with her. And also make sure that you stay tuned to our Instagram, the Why We Started podcast, because her business highlight reel goes out tomorrow. So you actually can visually see what she does with the story behind her business. So I hope you had a wonderful time listening to us today. Ashley, you were amazing. I feel like I got a wonderful nuggets that I did not know that we were going to be talking about, but totally made me take notes and forget what I was going to ask you today. So thank you so much for being here.
That's why I'm here. To make you forget about your real life. No, I'm just kidding.
And listen to us. Thank you.
That's right.